I'm Faye Watt, and let's queer up the USA view. HIV activists conduct mock funeral to protest funding cuts threatening life-saving care nationwide. In a powerful protest at the Renaissance Arlington Capitol View Hotel, HIV activists staged a mock funeral to spotlight fears over federal funding cuts under Donald Trump. Pallbearers carried black coffins as advocates read their own pre-death obituaries, warning that cuts to programs like PEPFAR and the Ryan White HIV/AIDS program could cost lives. Vincent Crisostomo of the San Francisco AIDS Foundation said, quote, "The cuts to HIV funding are not just numbers. They represent lives at stake and potential to undo decades of progress," end quote. Organized by the Save HIV Funding Campaign during AIDSWatch, the demonstration featured voices across LGBTQ+ and marginalized communities. Reverend Elder Carmarion D said, quote, "This is about dignity, and together we are here not to mourn, but to warn. When HIV funding is cut, lives are being lost," end quote. With chants of "cuts kill, funding saves," activists vowed to push policymakers to act before history repeats itself again. A mock funeral, that's not dramatic. That's prophetic. That is what we need. Like, we've seen this before and we know how it ends. Programs like Ryan White save lives. Cutting them costs lives, period. And many of them. I mean, we've got like 17,000 people that are affected by the ADAP cuts, etc. Thank goodness that AHF was able to come in the nick of time and, get that margin in between and help folks that were on meds. But I mean, this is our reality here,
This reminds me of 40 years ago, 35, 40 years ago, the ACT UP marches. ACT UP, for those of you who don't remember, was a very militant group when nobody would even say the word AIDS, when people were associating, they still do, but when they were really associating gay with AIDS and we were walking Grim Reapers, they stood up and they said, "No, you will not treat us like that." And they were loud. They were, we'll say, aggressive sometimes, but they made their point and they got on the evening news. And it was a lot harder to get on the evening news back then because there was only 3 evening newses to get on. And now you've got 24-hour, but we didn't have 24-hour that was really carrying news the way it is today. So I can't say it enough. This is great. It's visual. It gets people talking beyond just this table or in queer corners. So keep going. Keep going. God bless you. You're fighting the good fight.
Exactly what I was going to say, that the majority of straight Americans are not going to know anything about cuts to HIV.
Yeah.
All right. They just don't really care. And it's not really reported that much. I saw maybe one little story, a little segment, and I'm a news junkie for all the cable networks and stuff. And they didn't really mention the story that I remember, gosh, I can't remember his name now, but who was talking about the ADAP cuts. That wasn't on Florida news.
And you would think, right?
Yeah, you would think, because that's a major issue.
Yes.
And half the people in our own community here don't know about what's going on either. And I will say that if I wasn't on this program and I wasn't actually always trying to get the information, it'd be hard to find it out, So it's these kinds of stunts that they have to pull. I say get out on the street and do it right in the middle of frickin' 95 or do something like that, Well, we'll try to get a little GoFundMe for your bail. Whatever. But I mean, that's the only way the broader community is going to even know this stuff is happening, is if they're larger spectacles to say, what's going on here? Why are they doing that? And if I do believe if the public in general knew about this, they would be kind of outraged. Even though they may not have HIV, maybe they don't even know too many people that have it, but they would say, this is just inhumane.
Yeah.
Like, how could the church community, how could they, just look at that and say, we're just going to leave people to suffer, So I applaud you all for doing something, because that's how it starts. Somebody's got to do something. So thank you so much for that.
Well, there is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by sharing them and subscribing to Queer News Tonight.